Hi, I'm David Judson, Editor-in-Chief of Stratfor. With me today is George Friedman, our Chairman and Founder. George, thank you for joining me, taking some time. I just want to take a few minutes to discuss North America generally in light of President Obama's decree, which is on immigration, which is being much discussed. The issue that I think is worth talking about a bit here is the work you've done and we've done here at Stratfor on the assumptions that underlie this, that the pressure of migration north from Mexico to the United States is assumed to be a sort of permanent state. Maybe, maybe not.
Well, to begin with, birth rates are falling everywhere in the world. In some cases, like Bangladesh, it'll take a long time to reach zero population growth. In Europe and parts of Asia, it has already gone below replacement. Populations will decline. In the United States, one of the things stabilizing the population is immigration. One of the things about the United States is we're very good at metabolizing immigrants. But still, in order to maintain our population at the levels we've had, which is still a very low density compared to Europe or Asia, we need immigration. That's a statistical matter. This has nothing to do with whether or not you approve of what Obama did, and that was a completely separate issue. But the fact is that immigration into the United States has always been a feature that drove the economy. It was always regarded by those who were already here as a danger, both to the economy, paradoxically, but also to the culture that we'd built. And we've managed it fairly well. Therefore, whenever we look at Mexican immigration, we need to talk about the general problem, population stabilization, and the fact that the Mexicans themselves are going to reach zero population growth by the middle of the century.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the interesting demographic point, that the debate we're having today could be very different. Mexico's economy grows, the demand for skilled labor grows even faster. And is it possible that we will see not a reverse migration, of course, but a demand of northern people living and working in the north, wanting to move south?
Well, we've certainly seen a decline in Mexican immigration.
Right.
A lot of the immigrants coming in now are coming from Guatemala and elsewhere in Central America. As the Mexican economy grows, and it's the 13th largest in the world, I think, right now, the effort to get to the United States just isn't worth it. There are jobs and there are things available in Mexico. So there's a difference in the question of immigration in general, Hispanic immigration, and Mexican immigration. And the fact is that at this point, you have a very large illegal Mexican population in the United States. I really don't like the term undocumented. I don't know what it means. You have a very large population, but it's not necessarily being joined by a lot of new people. So the issue is not just border security, but really what do we do with these migrants who have found jobs here, who clearly are filling some function in the economy and moving forward. But we also have to remember that Mexican immigration is different from immigration of any other country.
Sure, because this large part of the United States was Mexico. Those cultural ties and cultural reference points have remained in place, so that I think maybe is it fair to characterize that the cultural borders and the political borders don't align necessarily altogether.
Well, it's also, what is the relationship of a Mexican immigrant to his home country? Every immigrant, the Irish, the Italians, had some sort of relationship with the home country, but it was far away. It wasn't a car ride away, and it became distant over time. Loyalty shifted. In the case of Mexico, which is the one country where we get a large amount of immigration from, it is less a question of leaving your country behind with an ocean in between you, but a relatively short move. And as you move northward, you move into an area that used to be part of Mexico.
Place names are in Spanish.
A certain version of Spanish is still spoken. There's a Spanish population. But as far north as Denver, this used to be part of Mexico that was lost during the Texas Uprising, during the Mexican-American War. The point is not that this is a historical restoration, but it is simply that unlike any other country, you can drive home.
Right.
And that builds a different relationship, a more intimate relationship. So to those who are saying that we should end immigration, they really are mistaken on the question of what America needs. But for those who are disturbed at the political, social impact of Mexican immigration, there is an issue that needs to be addressed. But in the end, the United States needs immigrants. It has always needed immigrants. It continues to need immigrants. There are those people who don't think it does. They're not looking at the numbers on the birth rate. The birth rate of the native population has plunged over the past years. It is not replacing itself. And at the end of the day, if we're going to maintain a stable population in what is still an underpopulated continent, we're going to need immigration from somewhere.
Right.
But I don't think it's going to come from Mexico. They're doing pretty well themselves.
That's really interesting, George. Thank you for these insights. Touched upon a lot of topics that probably are not part of the ongoing debate at this moment. Anyhow, for more on the geopolitics of migration and many other topics, join us here at Stratfor. Thanks, George.
Thank you.